It looks like we are live. Hello and welcome to Confessions of a Global Changemaker. This is a series that I'm delivering every day at 5:30 p.m. GMT so that I can get the most incredible minds from around the planet, like all over the world, people that are just doing the most amazing things, real purpose-driven change maker personalities that I believe will absolutely inspire your socks off and give you some little tips and tools that you'd be able to take into your business so that you can go out there and not make the same mistakes that we've made in the past. This series has come together after like a whole, years and years of many glasses of wine, late night calls, dinners, just like, oh, well, this happened to me. And, I wish I could give this advice to my younger self. And I thought we need to make sure that we are, paying it forward and giving this gift to those of you who might need that little bit more inspiration. So, okay, we are ready to rock and roll. Let me introduce you to the amazing powerhouse who actually I've only known for about 2 months. This Wonder Woman was introduced to me by our relationship manager, Yoka Hotma, in the UK, and she said, you have to meet this woman. Like, she gave this woman such an amazing, like, I was like, by the time I got the chance to meet her, I was just like, this is I almost felt a little bit starstruck the first time that I met her, which is so funny, isn't it? Because like when somebody, isn't it interesting? Here's a first little learning point before I introduce you to her, is that, sometimes we're so reserved about how we talk about ourselves because we feel like it's bragging, and it feels a little bit icky sometimes when you're talking about yourself. But when you switch it around and someone else is talking about you, that's when it becomes branding rather than bragging. And my goodness, this woman had such a lead up. Like, I was a little bit nervous about meeting her, and so she came to one of our incubators in London a few months ago, and I can't wait to introduce you to her. The more I find out, it's like an onion, and there's so many layers behind this incredible woman that I can't wait to introduce you to her. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Tia Staegemann. Hello, Tia. Hello. Oh, let's go. Thank you. Thank you so much
for the introduction. Thank you. I'm sitting here blushing.
Well, you're based in London, but that's not where you grew up, is it?
No. I'm a farm girl all the way from South Africa. I actually grew up on a game farm on the border to Zimbabwe and South Africa. So my father had a passion for farming, and so I grew up in this tiny little community, never changed schools, was born there, and then when I was 18, I was like, let me out of here, gotta go, gotta run away. So
wow.
So yeah,
there must be some key things you learned though, like growing up in that way. Even though I don't know, maybe you feel the same way, or but at the time when I was a kid, there were so many things that I thought I'm never going to do it that way, and that's just stupid. And of course, I find myself as an adult doing it that way because clearly other people had learned a much easier path than I had when I was a kid. What would you say was one of the things that you learned, or that you now look back on that and think, oh my God, I do that with my own children now, or what is one of those things?
I think the fact that I grew up in such a tight-knit community, and I realized the value of small, right, and of person like relationships, and we were all in each other's hair. We all knew each other. It wasn't a town where there was lots of gossip. I grew up on a farm, and we had these phones that you had a specific ring. So our ring was 2 shorts and 2 longs, but anyone could pick up and listen in, right? So people knew each other's business all the time. So you knew, oh, that's Uncle so-and-so's ring, and that's Auntie Dolly's ring. It was, oh, man, I'm telling you, it was amazing. And then, we also had like these 2-way radios, because there were a lot of terrorist attacks at the time in South Africa when I was about 10, 11, 12. So we had these 2-way radios, and then you would hear the kids playing in the trucks, picking up the radios and having these conversations with each other. But so we all knew everything about each other, and it was such the community. And I'm all about that relationships. I'm a very relational person, and And I'm always telling my children that it's about relational. It's not about this. Yes, it's great for relationship, but we have to be in each other's lives.
Yeah.
We live so distorted, and we have these perceptions of people, but actually you need to get into their lives to really know what's going on there. And I'm all about that. I'm all about getting into people's lives and getting to know them and building relationships, because I believe that that's what we're lacking in this world. It's like those deep relationships, So I'm always teaching my kids about, get off the phone and face to face kind of thing.
But it's actually that's a really good point. If we look at that in terms of branding and marketing, and how it became very transactional at one point, and then Facebook came in, I think that was 2004, and so everything became relational again, and it was about building communities, building tribe. For those of us that have grown up with that family intention as such, actually how would you say it? It stands us very well for now replicating that sense of closeness, that sense of community, but bringing that online. I read a book many years ago, which was, I think it's Dale Carnegie, which is the How to Win Friends and Influence People. But this other book called How to Win Friends and Influence People in the Digital Age. And it's really powerful to think about how is it possible to take what we're doing now, if you were in someone's living room and you were breaking bread with each other, how can you take that and really make that happen in a community online? Very fascinating how you do that. So Tia, tell us a little bit about what it is that you're doing now, because even the message you sent me earlier about, a family that you went to work with last week, it's really quite extraordinary how deep you get into the transformational process with family. Tell us a little bit about that. How did you get into that alone, let alone everything else you're doing?
Yeah, it's funny how these opportunities come to you, and I think
I think we've got a bit of a delay.
Are you there? Bit of a delay.
Yes.
Okay, good. So I don't know how I really got into this in a sense of I'm really passionate about young people, because I have kids of my own and stuff, and I've been running a children's ministry at my church for about 12 years. And because I struggled with my mental health myself for a long time, because I was exposed to a lot of trauma as a child, it's kind of become like a passion of mine to have, I'm really about helping people get into that kind of like, I suppose it's about forgiveness and really, having the courage to do things and forgiveness and stuff. But as I was digging into my own story and digging deeper and all this kind of stuff, and just dealing with my own trauma and getting better and better and better about it, I fell into this whole area of, I happened to come about children who were being sexually abused through online stuff, and I happened to come about, the whole genre where our kids are being exposed to not only just predators and sexual abuse and all this kind of stuff online, but they're self-harming, they're committing suicide and all these things. And I was just like, oh my God, I've got to make a difference. I've got to do something about this, right? I'm so passionate about mental health and helping people to just get through that. So now I've been working with a lot of families. I don't know, as I'm telling my story, more and more of it comes out, and it's almost like these opportunities are presented to me all the time where people are saying, there's this family, the children have been sexually abused, can you go and speak to them? And I just go there and I just share my story, I share my heart. I'm not a trained therapist, I'm a life coach, I've done, life coaching certification, but I have a gift of perspective. And I think that's one of the things that I have. And I'm a great communicator. I build deep relationships. I get deep into people's lives. I'm a connector, but I have perspective. and really perspective is a gift. And if we can just, I always go to people's homes, or always go to family, or even when I'm dealing with coaching clients, I always try to get them to get a different perspective, because when we get a different perspective of it, right, it can completely change our world. It changed my world when somebody introduced me to perspective. It changed me from victim to being completely empowered, because now I'm standing in someone else's shoes, and now I'm giving myself that gift of, wow, just think about it. If I was, just put yourself in their shoes for a minute. It can blow your world up. It's completely amazing. So yeah, so I don't know where it's leading, Sammy. I'm at that point where I'm at a point in my career where I help women and stuff, but I have this connection with young people, with children. All these doors are opening all over the place around young people. I am very aware of the stuff that our kids are facing, because I also work part-time with a charity as a speaker. I go into schools and I speak in schools, but I speak around online grooming, sexual exploitation, all this kind of stuff. And as I speak at schools, kids come out, and we will have confessions of children at every school that I've ever spoken at. You will have kids come forward and go to the teacher afterwards and say, this is happening to me, this is happening to me. So I know the power of having a speaker at a school, or somebody going and you sharing your story, or sharing stories, and then kids feeling empowered to come out and say, help me, this is happening to me. But, so, which is great. But I also know that there is this pandemic, there is this absolute pandemic of children that are falling into the trap of so much comparison via social media, eating disorders because the truths they believe about themselves. And I'm so passionate about going out there and just teaching these kids the tools that we have available to us as adults, the stuff that we know, right? The Tony Robbins's, that everybody, we know so much, right? But there are these thousands, millions of children sitting in schools that have no access to any of the stuff, the tools, the mindset, the truth, NLP, right? All the stuff. Nobody knows about it. Imagine if you can just blow children's minds by saying your mind is the most incredible tool you have, but we're not. So I'm very blessed to be part of a community of coaches and kids life coaches and people who are really passionate about changing the kind of atmosphere for children, for young people. And, I just believe that we are not enlightening our children. We're not, when I found out how powerful my mind was, and that I had a choice to be a victim or a survivor, that every day I can choose joy. I can, that I can actually renew my mind on a daily basis. I can do all these things. I was like, wow, gosh, this is incredible, right? And it doesn't mean that I still don't get tripped up and I don't have depression and I don't deal with hard stuff, but it just makes it like so much better in the end, and I just think if we can just go out there and equip these kids with this, turn a light on for them, right?
So it's a very powerful thing, isn't it? Because, if you think of in fact, we were talking about this with Cheryl Bass on yesterday's interview, the fact that so many entrepreneurs are going into business carrying all the baggage from their childhood, and that actually it just keeps showing up again and again and again. And we blame it on, we haven't got this, or we have got that, or this happened, or we're kind of operating below the line with our mindset quite often, but we're expecting these incredible results. But actually, if we were to go back and revisit the childhood, if we were to remove any of that trauma that's actually got us to where we are, we can then get to that next level. So Tia, as you've been, you've been in business a while, you've seen a lot, you've done a lot, you've worked with a lot of families, my goodness, I mean, you've saved a lot of lives just through the ability of your mind being able to cope with that. What would you say is a good mechanism for entrepreneurs who are in business, that like money can cause all kinds of mental health issues. rejection. There's rejection in business. There's the fear of success, fear of failure. We talked about some of those things with Gosha on her interview earlier on in this series. What would you say is like the number one key thing that we as entrepreneurs need to do to stay in that strong mindset? What's a tool or a technique that we can do if we feel ourselves going below the line?
A gratitude. Keeping a gratitude journal has been a lifesaver for me. I mean, I hit rock bottom twice in my business where I changed over from one idea to another. And unfortunately, like you say, I had patterns because I was sexually abused as a child, because I had severe trauma as a child. I had very bad patterns. And the only thing that kept me going, that kept me persistent in business, that was gratitude journaling. I would journal the hell out of a gratitude journal. I mean, you see all of this behind me? Half of that's gratitude journals, right? I think I've completed 5 or 6 over the last 4 years since I've discovered the power of gratitude, because it's just been enormous, because it just gets you to focus on what you've got right now, because everything's falling apart, right? Your world's falling apart. But journaling, and I had to be really careful because I can't journal, because I'm such a deep person and I'm so introspective and I have this gift of perspective and stuff, but I'm constantly at war with myself, and that comes from my trauma as a child. I'm very, very hard on myself, and I'm very introspective. So if I journal, normal journaling, I get too caught up on myself, and then I forget to serve, and I don't get to serve people. Right. And entrepreneurship is about serving. It's about not me. It's about taking me out of the equation. It's about you, right? Yeah. And when I gratitude journal, I get to like, okay, wow, I actually have so much. I don't have to have a pity party. This is how blessed I am actually every day, reminding myself. So that has really worked for me as an entrepreneur. It got me through the hardest of hards, just by doing that, because I couldn't journal, because I found that when I journaled, I just got too deeply sucked into, wow, this is all going on in my head, and oh my God, like so much. Yeah. And there are the thing about gratitude journaling is it really gets you to focus on the now. So you forget about the future, so you stop worrying about the future. It also gets you grounded in the now, so you forget about the past. So it might kind of like eliminates the past. It stops you from worrying about the future, and it actually chemically changes your brain. There's a chemical change that happens in your brain when you gratitude journal. And yes, you can sit up in bed and you can say, oh, I'm just going to say, oh, I'm thankful for this. But actually, writing it down is so powerful. It's incredibly powerful, just doing that, writing it down thing.
I'm making a note of this. I'm putting a little banner up for you. So getting focused on gratitude removes the past and the future in that moment. Yeah. You get to be fully present.
Absolutely. And the thing is, it's almost like a retraining your brain thing, because as we've had, like you said, we have trauma in our past and all this kind of stuff. What happens is that, some of us have these voices, some of us, and I find with entrepreneurs especially, I'm going to bring 2 amazing change makers to the event, right? And these girls both have very, very powerful backstories. And, what I know from them, because they're very good close friends of mine, is that we're all in this genre where because of our past trauma, we feel like we have to perform all the time, right? Yeah. So we are very driven and very kind of like, but that means that our inner voices are the hardest to deal with. Like all 3 of us have these incredible driving inner voices. So gratitude is that focus. It kind of like quiets that mind, like stop it. Let's focus on this, And so I don't know, there might be other entrepreneurs who are struggling with the same thing, where you have this inner battle and your voices are so deafening, like, you're not good enough, you're not succeeding, you should have been here already, look where you are, you're not there yet, all that stuff that we beat ourselves up as entrepreneurs. Yeah. It was so creative. So that to me was just phenomenal, being introduced to gratitude journaling.
That's a really good tip, because it almost sounds like writing in a gratitude journal slows you down, which enables you to actually go faster.
Yeah.
Because when you're in that zone of anxiety, when you're thinking about the future, getting anxious, here's where I should be, all the things that you just said, I'm not where I should be, or why isn't this happening faster, or why haven't I got the money, or that inner talk. It's, how can you possibly make a great decision and a conscious decision when you're in a state like that? So it sounds like, filling in a gratitude journal and getting really grateful is a brilliant tool to be able to slow you down so that you have the mental capacity and the mental shift to be able to make those great decisions that speed you up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely worked wonders for me. So gratitude journaling, and then I have anchoring thoughts. That's something else that I had. The whole, Marie Forleo has just written a book called Everything is Figure Outable. But I listened to her talk years ago when she just went onto Oprah stages, and she did a talk called Everything is Figure Outable. That was her mom used to tell her that. So it's become one of my anchoring thoughts. So when I do my gratitude journaling, and I've done it, and I still feel anxious, I keep on repeating in my head, everything's figure outable. You can do this. You can figure it out. Everything's figure outable. And then those are two of the biggest tools that I've used to quiet, when I'm feeling stressed about an entrepreneur or about so I don't throw shit at the wall, because that's what I used to do for years, right? We just chuck shit at the wall and think, let me just do this. Let me just do this. Okay, I'm going to put this course together, and then you just chuck it out there, and you've been there. So those two things have really helped me to quiet down a lot, to calm down, and just kind of plan ahead.
Yeah. And it's powerful. It's really powerful stuff. And, so often, there's loads of stuff out there that's telling you to journal. You should be manifesting. You should be doing your affirmations. You should be, should, coulda, woulda, it's like kind of, but no one ever really breaks it down in this way. And what I love about what you've said about the gratitude journal is that, instead of journaling every day and just getting all the shit out and basically getting yourself into an even bigger hole and wallowing over it, which, sometimes there are days when you'll write and it makes you feel better, but other times you get down into the hole with yourself. And now, like, how do you climb back up when, you don't have that mindset to be able to do that? So I love what you've said is, don't write any of that stuff. Get into gratitude and then start writing, maybe, getting to that gratitude place and then start writing from that place rather than the down place that you're at. I really love that. Tia, this is obviously Confessions of a Global Changemaker. This is the title of the series. So what would be your confession of something that you've gone through in this journey of building your own business, and this journey that we call life? What would you say is something that you've gone through that you could give yourself advice about now? Like, if you could go back in time and give yourself that golden nugget, what would it be that would support all of our other emerging entrepreneurs right now?
I would say for me, it was the idea that I had in my head of what it was supposed to look like. That messed me up all the time. And, I always thought I had to be further along than I was. And I didn't enjoy the journey. I didn't learn, I was always so hard on myself. And I think looking back, all of these things, they add up to where you are today. Yeah. Had I just kind of enjoyed the ride and maybe at times, rather than putting myself in so much pressure, found a job and just had a part-time job, right? But Sammy, there were so many people that I asked, do you think I should get a job? Should I? And I just wanted the truth, and nobody had the guts to say, listen, actually, you know what? Just get something part-time. Just get something part-time, right? And nobody ever did that. So I think the thing that I would have to say is, that idea of you look at everybody else and you think, I should be further along. I should be there. You're not enjoying the journey. You're not enjoying the growth.
Yeah.
And then actually just getting a job that will just calm you down so that you can focus on where you're at and all this kind of stuff. And it gives you a breather, right? And as an entrepreneur, we don't want that. We don't want to go and get a job. We don't want to do those things. We don't. And I must say that was probably the thing that was the hardest lesson that I ever learned was with that, and then hitting rock bottom twice as a result, right? And that was.
Would you say that was pride that stopped that? Was it a pride thing that you know?
I don't know. I know I don't.
If I get a job, then that means I'm a failure as an entrepreneur. Like, what is that?
For me personally, it wasn't pride, because I'm so tenacious and I'm so determined. It was stubbornness. For me, it was more a fact of stubbornness and actually believing in myself a little bit too much, and not having somebody that sat down and saying, look, it's great to believe in yourself as much as you do. And this is all amazing, but you have all these that the pressure is just going to be too much on you. And then, so it's not got to do with pride or anything like that. I think I was just looking for answers from everybody, and nobody had the guts to say to me, in all honest truth, listen, Tia, actually, you should just get a job, right? But people would, oh, yeah, you're great, you're amazing. You know, I started off in network marketing, and it was flipping hard, right? And I did incredibly well.
Very tough business.
Yeah, and I did incredibly well. But oh my God, the inner turmoil I had in the journey was just so incredible. And I several times said to people, do you think I should get a job? Should I get a part-time job? No, you're going to make it big. Listen, you have connections, you have all these things. And I was like, now my motto is truth, right? If somebody asks me something, if any of my clients say da-da-da, I say, get a job. Just go get a job.
Yeah.
Right? Go get a job. It will take
buy yourself some relief for a little while.
Yeah.
It's something actually that, you know, I have said to a number of entrepreneurs when, you know, that the thing is, when you're at the start of the journey, I think that too many people underestimate what it takes to start a successful business. They think that they can just, you know, put a thing out on Facebook and all of a sudden they're just going to sell the world's greatest product, and all of a sudden money's going to flood in. It just doesn't work like that. You know, it can work that depending on what kind of business model you have. But, you know, with a coaching, a training, mentoring, speaking in that kind of business, it takes building up trust currency. And I expect to kind of go into that. And so I would always advise, you know, if there is an element of that financial instability and it's getting you to a point where it's actually becoming a mental health issue.
Yeah.
Buy that relief for yourself, you know, get a part-time job. I actually had this conversation with somebody about 2 months ago and said, listen, you know, just get a part-time job. It's completely, you know, thoughtless. You haven't got to think about anything. You just like, you're on autopilot. You just go get that job, but you don't have to think, you know, because while you're doing that, you can be thinking about your own stuff still, because you're just doing stuff on autopilot. So, Tia, as we wrap up this this powerful session, and thank you so much for taking the time out. I know you've got your family, you're sorting Christmas out, you're doing all kinds of stuff at the same time. We're like, you know, coming up like a week away from December, which is crazy. Where did this year go? Speaking of December, we have the Vision, Voice and Visibility Summit that is coming up from the 7th and 9th of December. I'm going to pop a little banner up there so you can see. If you haven't got your ticket yet, make sure you get your ticket. Tia, you have signed up for this summit. In fact, you were one of the first people that was just like, oh my God, I've got to go there. And you're bringing 2 amazing thought leaders with you as well. Why are you coming to the summit? Like, why would you need to go do that?
Well, you know, for me, it's about impact. Literally, on my vision board, it says very big, am I making an impact? That's what I look at every day, because it really is about impact and it's about changing lives. Yeah. And I think one of the things why I connected with you was one of the first things you said to me is about think about impact. It's not about, oh, I'm going to make you a millionaire. It was like, I'm going to help you to make impact. Because I have a big vision, right? I know that I'm called to do big things, and I'm following a calling, which is a little bit different from building a business. You know, mine is more of a calling to a certain extent. Yeah. But I want to go because I want to learn and I want to see who I can connect with. For me, it's about going there and connecting with the right impact makers, because ultimately you know, for me, it's not about making my millions. It's about how many suicides can we stop? How many kids can we stop from self-harming? How many adults can we stop from being on antidepressants? You know, all these kind of things. And that will take collaborative impact. So I want to go there, and I want to learn how I can grow my voice, my vision, my visibility, so that I can make a greater impact, and then I can get other change makers along to bring the impact. So I was like, oh my God, I've got to be there. I've got to go do it, because I want to learn these things, because that's what's important, is getting myself out there to share what I know. But it's not about growing my business necessarily for me. It's about going out there and spreading the message and making an impact that way. So that's what I'm really excited about.
Well, you are going to get all of that and more.
Brilliant.
Tick. Yes, you're going to get all of that. You know, what's beautiful about this, I've been quite strict actually, because it would be so easy to go and do a load of Facebook advertising and fill the room with a load of people that we don't know. But we've been very intentional with this summit. And for me, it's so important that the right people are in the room. Like you, everybody in that room is someone that has had a calling. They're hearing the calling, they're listening to the calling, and they want to collaborate and champion with other people, as opposed to trying and do this the hard and long way, which is to do it on your own. You know, and I've been there and tried to do it on my own, and it doesn't work anywhere near as effective as if you're in a whole room full of people that are the right people to be there. I've had a few people in the last couple of days that have said to me, oh, I've got this friend and they're just starting a business and I think this would be perfect for them. And I said, it's not for them. This is for people. They've already heard the calling. They've already got some, you know, miles under their belt in doing what they do. And this is now about, okay, stop doing it the hard way. Let's get your vision in place for 2020. Let's get your voice out there in the biggest possible way. And let's drive as much visibility to it as possible, so you're not burning yourself out by trying to get this message out to everyone in the world. So I've been excited to people, because I think that's a key thing, is making sure the right people are in the room. So Tia, I'm so excited that you're bringing other people with you as well. You know exactly the kind of people that we're looking for, because you are that person, and that's why this has been very much a word of mouth invitation only. If you're watching this and you'd love to receive an invite, if you are hearing the calling, if you are thinking, you know, I think I need to be in that room, the link for the summit is with this video just here. Reach out to us, and you know, if you're not quite sure whether it's right for you or not, then reach out to either Tia or myself. You know, we'll have a conversation about whether it's right for you, but you'll know if it's right for you. You'll know, because you will have heard the calling. You will have already been serving in a certain extent. You don't have to be doing it for years and years and years, even if you've just got some mileage under your belt, doing it for someone else. And you know that there's a better way, a stronger way, and even more powerful way that you can be changing lives. If you're a life changer and a shifter and somebody that wants to transform other people's lives in a bigger way, then it is definitely for you. Tia, thank you so much. I'm going to let you get back on with your Christmas stuff and the family things now.
Thank you so much for having me, Sammy. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. I can't wait to see you in a few weeks in December. Take care, guys and girls. Come back tomorrow. We're going to be live again at 5:30 p.m. GMT, whatever time that is for you around the world. And I'm interviewing Thomas Power. He couldn't quite get onto the interview with his wife Penny the other day, so we're going to do a separate interview tomorrow, 5:30. Thomas is my mentor. He's my coach. He is somebody who I just look up to in the most he's done the most extraordinary things, as has Penny. The two of them together are the most incredible power team. They're both going to be at day one of the Vision, Voice and Visibility Summit. You have to hear them speak and meet them personally. They really are an incredible pair of change makers that are doing the most extraordinary things in the world. So I'll see you again live tomorrow at 5:30 a.m. p.m. Definitely not AM, PMT. And for those of you that want to join me at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, I'll be going live again to give you a little kuta, which is a if you want to go into that week, all guns blazing, totally ready for the most extraordinary, life-changing week for all of your customers. So take care, and I'll see you there. Mwah.